I'm here to discuss with you about handwriting. When a child starts his education, the first thing he is taught is to hold a pencil and scribble. Handwriting is still a primary concern for the educationists. And do you know, experts of the opinion that handwriting skills are so very important for understanding and learning a language? Handwriting is the mirror of the state of the mind of the writer and the personality. Let us understand the science of handwriting. As the experts are of the opinion that handwriting is nothing, but it is basically brain writing. It is the coordination between the mind that gives the thoughts and the hand that writes on the paper. That's to say, writing is the outcome of a perfect mind and motor coordination. To achieve a perfect mind and motor coordination, one requires years of rigorous practice. That to write perfectly, one has to practice very correctly. Lack of any mind and motor coordination can lead to improper and incorrect writing. A perfect coordination can make your writing in fact immensely expressive and interesting. Written matter in fact motivates the writer himself if it is written perfectly. It improves your confidence, makes you more presentable. In fact, it's a well-proven fact that it is our writing that helps us learn the spellings and add value to our vocabulary. And thus, in fact, enhancing the quality of our communication and understanding of a language. A better ability to make written communications helps a student score much higher in his exams. If I talk of handwriting in today's perspective, I will not hesitate to say that it is not being given the due attention beyond the primary level of education. And you'll agree, we cannot grossly blame the schools for this kind of affair, because as the child grows, the n number of other subjects and topics that he has to learn, and the time span available is again fixed in a school day. Handwriting needs to be taken care of. In the fact of the matter is, there is only 10% problem in handwriting, because the child who is writing knows the language, knows the words, knows how to make the words. What is missing is his skills of joining the letters that affect the whole entire legibility of a handwriting, and underdeveloped handwriting skills always make you less presentable. And let's take a situation like say a teacher has to check 500 answer sheets of a board exam. The answer sheet which is better written and more legible scores higher. In fact, many grades get affected when the handwriting is not legible. Now let me give you another example. Say there is a child in the 6th or 7th grade or standard. If his handwriting is not very legible, he often gets rebuked by his teacher right in front of the entire class. That affects his entire confidence. He avoids eye contact with the teachers. He doesn't want to submit his homework, or doesn't want to even show his classwork to his peers. In fact, his whole personality gets subdued, affecting his performance in all the subjects as a student. And while the entire process, I tell you, can be reversed, only if one can work on the legibility of the child's handwriting. Because this one simple action can open up his entire personality. I'll tell you, problems are so small. In fact, handwriting problem is never more than 10%. Handwriting can be repaired at any age if worked upon scientifically. Within 7 days it can be improved. That too with 100% legibility. To make you believe me, I'll show you certain handwriting samples. So friends, you've seen the samples. Do you believe this can happen? Well, I can see you still don't believe that this can happen. And that too if I tell you that this has been achieved only in 7 days. And most importantly, because of just 1 hour practice, and that too without any homework being allowed. And to add over it, I can confidently tell you, I will guarantee you 100% money back if the handwriting doesn't become 100% legible. before we go into the technicalities of this, let me take you to the flashback. When you were kids, I was a kid, we got so many advices from so many people. Somebody would say write properly, somebody will say write between the lines, somebody will say write neatly, somebody would give advice, you are not holding the pencil properly or the pen properly. And somebody would come and say, why do you write so big, write little small? Somebody will say, why are you writing so small, so write little big. Some people would come and say, you must practice every day 2 or 3 pages. Practice daily. At least I don't remember. Do you remember anybody telling you how to write? Practically none told us how to write. Other than when we were very small and our mother or our primary teacher held our hands and asked us to write. Thereafter, nobody ever told us how to write. If I wrote one alphabet wrong for one time, throughout my life I have been writing it wrongly. What we do basically is, we take the samples, as I showed you the samples of handwriting on the day one when a student comes to us, and identify the technical flaws. Once we have identified these technical flaws, we work on scientific methods to make the necessary repairs in the flaws that have been identified. Most importantly, we ensure to retain the basic handwriting, because it is rightly said, a handwriting is not a simple scripture on a paper made by somebody. It is the actual entity in itself. It is the personality of the person writing. So we don't want to change anybody's personality or his basic handwriting. I tell you, the repair process starts. The first step is to work on the basic fonts. Now before I actually go into the details, I would like to define the basic fonts. You see, in English, although there are 26 alphabets, we as handwriting experts have identified that there are 5 basic alphabets that we can say. For example, I will tell you, take a C. If you just look at the way I am writing it, you will understand that a C will become a A, and this A becomes a D. Now try to get the point. What is important in this entire thing is this arc and curve of the C. If this can be corrected, if there are problems with A, D, or for example even there is a problem with the G or the Q or the E or an O, all this can be corrected if my focus is just on correcting this C. Because the basic arc and curve is similar, the rest are almost straight lines. And we have identified such 5 basic alphabets which once corrected can make complete repair in the formation of the alphabets that may not be correct in a handwriting. Now let me show you another basic, like take for example the L. It becomes a T. Similarly, becomes an H or an I or a J, maybe a K. You see one thing, the basic formation is similar in all the alphabets. So if I were to correct T, H, I, J, K or B, my focus would be on making a correct L. I would have corrected 6 or 7 alphabets. So now my question to you is, if I were to correct just 5 basic alphabets, how many days would a person take really to correct it? A couple of hours? But I am giving him solid 7 hours to make the corrections. Now, having worked on the creation of the font alphabets in a correct way, another thing that needs a focus while looking at the repair of a handwriting is joining of the alphabet. Now, if I were to write like this and ask you which one is M and which one is N, I know you can't read it. Neither can I. I'll give you another example. What is it written? I know 99% of people read it as Das, but actually I wanted to write class. So joining of C and L has spoiled the whole meaning of the word. So mind you, joining of the letters correctly is a very important aspect as far as the legibility of handwriting is concerned. Thank God W and U, they do not come together in any English letter. Or again, this another would have been a problem. So we focus on correct joining of the alphabets to ensure that the legibility of the words doesn't get affected. We focus on certain meditational techniques to ensure that these corrections and the methods giving a permanent effect on my subconscious, so that the training imparted to me is retained by me for a lifetime. Another thing that we work on, scientific area as we call it, the body posture, how you sit, what's the distance between the table and the chair, or the height of the table, where is the elbow resting, is it hanging or is it resting on the table, or how you're holding the pen. There's so many things of these type that we work upon to ensure that the writing posture gets corrected and whatever ill effect it might have had on the output when you are writing gets corrected. So friends, now I told you the process that we follow in ensuring the repair in the handwritings of the technical identified flaws. I'll show you the samples once again.